Hello, 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 my beautiful friends from the internet. I am super happy to be back here with y'all today. I'm recording these next couple ones beforehand because I'm going home back to visit my parents for a week. So I'm going to be pre-recording these episodes, but that doesn't matter because I'm so happy to be back with all of you and tuning into the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Without further ado, I am your host, Luke Dick. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and review. And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Reddit Asks Us podcast. So, thank you everybody for coming back. I know the audience is getting it's growing each week. It's fun to have everybody tuning into the show. And like I always say, this is a group experiment, a collective effort between the two of us. This is a relationship we have. There's no me without you. And I love the synergy that we create together because that makes it more fun for me, and to know that you guys are enjoying the episodes. So I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's been listening in, maybe for the first time over the past couple weeks, and some of my listeners who've been tuning in for a while now. So let's get right into it. So this episode is. And the question comes from the main Askreddit page. What's the trashiest wedding you've been to? And this, I try my hardest to find Reddit posts that are people telling stories, because man, the internet is so full of stories, man, and Reddit is such a unique platform. You don't really get to tell the big long stories that are entertaining for people to hear. At all, even you don't really get to hear that anywhere else on any other really major mainstream sort of platform besides Reddit. So all my beautiful friends on Reddit have sent in their comments and commented on this post. So let's go through them right now. So the first one comes here from user _Groundhog Day -- The best man screwed the groom's mother between the meal and dancing. The groom finds out. The best man screwed my bad, guys. The best man screwed the groom's mother between meal and dancing. The groom finds out, punches the best man, breaking his hand. The best man drives away and gets stopped by the police for drunk driving. Being a wedding photographer is awesome. That's, what the heck, man? You couldn't keep it in your pants? Like, till after the wedding? You're literally gonna sleep with your boy's mom the day of their wedding? Like, come on, bro. That's trashy as hell, dog. That's super trashy. So this next one comes from Kaijut Igu. I don't know. My friend group and I talk about this wedding to this day, and probably will for the rest of our lives. The bride and groom decided to do things on a very, very small budget. That's fine. Frugal weddings and budget weddings can be beautiful and nice. Side anecdote, my parents had like a cheap wedding, and they enjoyed it, because they were college students. They just graduated. They didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on a wedding, because that's not what really matters. The wedding isn't what really matters. It's the marriage and the commitment that you give to your partner that really matters. That's what my mom tells me. But anyways, back to the story. Frugal weddings and budget weddings can be beautiful and nice. There's a difference between a frugal wedding and a cheap wedding, however, and this was a cheap wedding. For instance, well, maybe my parents got a frugal wedding then. The wedding was in July and decided to hold it in a non-air-conditioned park shelter. The decorations were actual trash. The bride decided me and other bridesmaids needed tiny top hats, which she made from discarded styrofoam cups. Mine had ants in it. She asked me to be the maid of honor, and I was flattered but confused. She had 3 maid of honors before me, and they all quit for various reasons, mostly baby daddy drama related. She wanted live music but wouldn't pay a pianist. My friend Steven's sister said she'd play the wedding march on the keyboard for $50. Said sister couldn't actually play the piano, but she did the pre-recording wedding march song. Nobody could tell the difference because the woman in charge of baking the cake got shit-faced the day before and was baking the cake in the non-air-conditioned park shelter's little kitchen while listening to the radio very loudly. The bride and groom tried to write their own vows, got in a fight over it, and didn't tell the officiant until the day of that there were no vows. Fortunately, he was on it and had the backup vows ready to go. The bride hadn't tried on her dress, which she'd bought from AliExpress, until the day of. It was way too small, and we had to rip out the back and safety pin some satiny white fabric, which would have been great if the dress hadn't been off-white. The groom made comments, and it turned out that the whole dress thing was based on his mom offering to pay for the dress, then rescinding because she had to bail out his brother. My friend, instead of going to an actual store to buy a dress, picked one off AliExpress. This would have been less weird if I hadn't been dress shopping with her like 3 times because her mom couldn't pick out a mother of the bride dress. Oh my goodness. The groom's entire family, including his best man and 2 groomsmen, left right after the meal. Spaghetti, green beans, and McDonald's orange drink was served. McDonald's orange drink was served. The DJ, my friend Steven and his Bose speaker, didn't know this and tried to announce the groom's dance with his mom. His mom had left. Apparently his family was furious that it was a dry venue. The only member of the family left was the ring bearer, who it turns out was forgotten. We had to take him home because his family wouldn't come and get him. The groom slept through the rehearsal and showed up to the wedding drunk. We had to put another friend on bouncer duty because 2 of the bride's aunts tried to walk away with the cash envelope. We gave him the envelope because he was the tallest, and we figured he could outrun the ants. The bride's brother was originally on the envelope duty, but we caught him taking a 50 out of the envelope, so we had to take it from him. We had to politely inform the best man that he couldn't smoke in the porta-john, and we had porta-johns instead of actual working bathrooms. The most worst, though, was the photographer. As the maid of honor, I was informed the day of that I had to keep the photographer 100 feet away from the ring bearer at the flower girls at all times because he was a registered sex offender, but also the bride's uncle. He volunteered to do the pictures for free. Oh my God. So he ended up using a telephoto lens because he couldn't get close enough to the wedding party to take the pictures. They divorced a couple months later after the house they were staying in burned to the ground. I have no idea to this day why they even got married. There is so many things here in this story. Like another theme I found through going through a lot of these was everyone's always drunk. Everyone's always wasted. Like, that's the thing. Everyone just thinks a wedding is just an occasion to get absolutely wasted. But yeah, this wedding definitely seems rather trashy. And people stealing the money, like, come on, man. Like, you're gonna just absolutely rip 50s off of people, and then they give it to other people, and then they tried stealing the envelopes, and then they had to just give it to some tall dude. So just a colossal failure. All right, so this next one comes from Hopeless Emu. Wedding was in a suburban driveway. The maid of honor stole the banquet from someone's garden, and the best man proudly announced that he had shoplifted the rings. The groom wore a button-down shirt that said, "Fuck off," in fancy lettering. The bridesmaid stopped in the middle of the vows to tell her mother to get the fucking kid out of here. It was her second kid by the previous bloke. When it was over, we apologized to the celebrant. He'd said he'd seen worse. Reply from Zen Flarg. You could have told me this was a scene from the show Trailer Park Boys, and I would have 100% believed you. You're like, what is up with the shirts, man? Like, what? Where do you even get a shirt like that? A shirt that's like embroidered or stitched with "fuck off"? Like, come on. Where did this? I gotta say though, man, I don't want to be super stereotypical here, but I'm gonna be super stereotypical here. Most, if not all, of these weddings take place in the southern United States. And that, I don't know I'm not gonna postulate into reasons of why that's the case, but that just seems to be a common theme. Sorry guys, I'm just tired. I apologize for all the yawning. But that just seems to me a place where these wedding problems seem to arise for people and where a lot of the origin stories of these weddings come from, like there's certain origin stories and stories you hear from certain places around the world. Oh, that sounds like a German story. Oh, that sounds like a story from ancient China. Oh, that story sounds like a story from the Amazon. These definitely have a very particular tone to them that a lot of them take place in the United States and some of them in Britain as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were also from Canada because there is trash everywhere. Anyways, so next one comes from Svetlana of Athens. A wedding on the beach behind Hooters. The officiant stood next to a trash bin. As if it was planned, the trash collector pulled up during the vows. Did he wait to change the bag? Absolutely not. Children at the wedding swarmed the couple like flies around the trash can just after the kiss, stepping all over her dress. She bent over to adjust her sandals, and a pack of Marlboro Reds fell right out of the bust along with her right breast. It felt like we were rubbernecking instead of witnessing a marriage. And yeah, this one is also mentions in the edit that it's from Florida. So yeah, nothing beats a wedding but next to the trash bin behind a Hooters. That is a restaurant I just totally don't understand. There's nothing really like that here in Canada. I think there may be only like one actual like one of that like brand's restaurants maybe in this country. That is a place I just do not understand. It's literally like a place that old gross men go to that just says I'm horny and I want beer. Like it's just gross. Like why would you ever want to pull up to a place like that? It just seems so weird. So strange. It just is like, how do you guys even get business? How does this even operate? And I read the story about it too, and apparently the dudes who started it were just like real creeps. Like just there's no vibe. Like how do I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. That is the epitome of trash, by the way. Hooters, you could never catch me in one of those unless I was starving. All right, and even then I'd be like, can someone just bring me food in a styrofoam thing? Just bring it outside. I'm not trying to go in there. So this next one comes from Snoo Hobbies 7109. And listen, if you like to go to Hooters, by the way, man, there's something wrong with you, bro. There's something seriously wrong with you. There's one person like maybe listening to this right now that's like, oh, I've been to Hooters a couple times. This is fun. It's not bad. Is that, bro? Get your life together. Come on. What are you doing? You're a grown-ass man. Get the fuck out of Hooters, bro. Stop being publicly horny and drunk. Anyways, so this next one comes from Snoo Hobby 7109. I was actually a bartender, but it was a hoot. First wedding was outside and it stormed violently. Groom was hammered pre-wedding, hit on all the bartenders. Then the DJ got hammered, made lewd comments to women on the microphone. Then basically everyone was hammered, knocked over the wedding cake, which also happened to be on a table with many candles, so the place caught on fire. Good times. Often wonder how that marriage worked out. In some of these, a lot of them are also, and I've been to a couple weddings too, where you don't like know, you don't really necessarily have like a direct relation. They're like your parents, like friend of a friend, or like your cousin invites you to like their friend's wedding, or just weird connections to how you end up going to some of these places, and then you go there and you go to these weddings, you experience a couple things that are here or there, meet a couple people who are like something's not quite right there, and then you wonder how those people are doing to this day, because everyone's got that curiosity, So this next one comes from Lily Pads. The bride made a speech thanking her in-laws for financial assistance for the event. Her mother was not thanked, and she was furious. There was a long head table for the bridal party and parents. It was made out of small tables pushed together, covered by one long tablecloth. The mother pulled a small table out of the arrangement, catching the tablecloth, nearly destroying the head table setup. Now the bride got very angry, and there was much back and forth with various members attempting to make peace. The mother refused to push back her table and began to invite others to sit with her, all people who were not meant to be seated at the front. Mother of the bride continued to sit there and talk shit about her daughter, the bride, to anyone who would listen, literally during their wedding. Like, during their day where they're expressing each other's love and affection and that they have for one another. It's meant to be someone's special day where they can really embrace the connection that they have with another person, and other people can celebrate this connection. And then your mom sitting front row talking shit about you to everyone who's not supposed to be there. So that's tough. That's really tough. Next one comes from Tenacious Daniel. Woo boy, this is my time to shine. So my uncle was a preacher, but also owned a restaurant. A 16-year-old got married to her 17-year-old boyfriend in the back room. Her name was Candy. After the ceremony, she opened her wedding gifts. It was like a birthday. One of the waitresses, Brenda, had given her old lingerie as a gift. I remember during the reception, Candy went out to the back to throw the lingerie into a dumpster while Brenda sang "These Boots Were Made for Walking" on karaoke. For their honeymoon, her mom bought them a room at the Holiday Inn around the corner, but they got bored, so they came home. It's like, what? Like, even I wouldn't even get bored in a hotel room by myself. How do you get bored in a hotel room? Just hang out, order room service. Like, how do you get bored? Go to the pool. Like, do something. Like, oh my goodness. I can tell you, if they got bored just after the hotel, and their marriage is probably not continuing to this day, and their marriage, if it is probably one of the most boring and non-exciting marriages. Also, why are you getting married when you're 16? Like, bruh, what even is that? 16? Like, you don't even, what? In 16, like, I just got my license. I'm not thinking about getting married. I didn't even know how to talk to girls when I was 16 years old, bro. How do you expect me to be married to one? And people always forget, man, marriage is a life commitment. All right, marriage is something. Man, people just don't see marriage like this. Maybe this is why there's so many divorces nowadays. But people maybe just don't, like, I don't know. My parents always told me from the littlest of person that marriage is something that is reserved for when you are ready to make this connection. It is to uphold the integrity behind the marriage. The whole idea is that you only do this when you are fully committed to somebody. Otherwise, why would you even get married? Like, I don't understand. Like, why are these people even getting married? Like, it's just, can't you just be together? Like, especially if all these people end in divorce too. I don't understand. And then divorce is just such a complicated, it makes everything worse. Like, why not just wait until you've actually, like, you know, felt confident in your relationship and they're like, yeah, I want to commit to this person, instead of just being like, 16 years old, who here would like to marry me? And then it's just like, oh, now you're married. So this next one comes from Cats and Snacks 22. I once worked a wedding where, come time for the dance, no one could find the groom. Turns out he went to the resort's shooting barn to shoot clay pigeons. Upon learning this news, the bride reacted by cursing up a storm on the dance floor. Reply from Robbie Lutton, or Lushian. Guess it was a shotgun wedding. Appreciate the little puns there. What the heck, man? People just have no brain. Like, what even is that? Like, I don't know. I know my dad would never, like, do something like this, but I can just see him being at some sort of event where his presence is, like, appreciated, and then he just talks to some random dude, and this random dude just tells him to, like, come with him, and he's gonna show him something cool. Like, I don't know. And my dad is just like, everyone's like, where's Trevor? Where's Trevor? And then people are just like, oh, I saw him walk out with whatever his name is. And then they find him, and they're both, like, I don't know, staring at, like, some sort of, like, antique tractor or something. And he's, like, telling him a story. It's just something my dad would do. Anyways, next one comes from Neath Spin Lights. Ceremony was in a park, not booked or decorated, just showed up and found a spot. Reception was at a scout hall, no decorations again, and for catering, the bride's family went through Red Rooster drive-thru and got a bunch of whole chickens and chips. Like 5 different cars went through, one after another, and ordered. They didn't even pre-order. Groom and all his friends were high as kites, and the only reason the bride isn't was because it was announced that she was pregnant. Groom and his mates brought their dirt bikes and after eating went out and rode them around the hall. Was so loud and muddy. What? Like, come on, man. Something like this, man. What even is Red Rooster? I don't even know what that is. Like, is that? I'm hoping. Oh, let's see. Red Rooster. It is a Australian. Oh, interesting. So this is from Australia. Oh, yeah. I could see that. That's okay. The most trashiest places where you can find the trashiest people, man. The UK, Canada, the United States, obviously, and Australia. It's just English people, man. It's white people. White people are just trash, dude. White people are like white trash, man. White people are literally just trash. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know why we just attract. Like, I don't know. That's such like a unique faction or group of white people is the trashy whites. It's like they're their own species. They're their own thing. They just do. I don't know where they get their values, morals, or teachings from, but they have their own way of life. The trashy whites, and let me tell you, it is. I'm gonna say you're probably not gonna want to spend an extended amount of time with these people because they're just very weird. I've grown up and known a lot of trashy white people in my day, and I'm glad to say that I really don't know a lot of those people anymore. And a lot of those people are just very, very odd folks. Very interestingly raised. So this next one comes from Taladro. Both my middle sister's weddings. Don't get me wrong, she's the sane one of my sisters, and I actually really love her. But she has, shall we say, a unique sense of style. Wedding number 1 was while she was working as a carny and was held after closing time on the Midway at some podunk county fair. I may well have been the only sober person there, and there was definitely more tattoos than teeth in attendance. She wound up leaving him when she found out he was an abusive, self-centered twat who contributed nothing to taking care of their kid. Wedding number 2, just last year, was mostly okay, and brother-in-law is a real stand-up guy, but y'all, the whole wedding theme was camo. Sister wore a camouflage wedding dress and matching Crocs. Oh, God. Brother-in-law wore jeans and a dress shirt with a camo vest. The friggin' cake was covered in camo patterned ribbons. Oh, my God. And I don't know where the hell she got camo patterned silk roses, but the cake had a pile of those too. What is up with the camo? That's another like just very stereotypical and very accurate trait of white trash. What is up with the camo? I don't understand. You can't even see it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna make that joke. But for real though, what is up with the camo? I don't understand this obsession with camouflage. Like what is I just don't get it. I don't understand. Like camouflage is meant to be something that you wear when you like aren't wanting to be seen. Like why would you wear it? Like and it's not cool. Camouflage is not there's nothing cool about camouflage. There's nothing cool about camouflage. I don't understand unless you have the only thing that's cool about camouflage is if you had some sort of cloaking device where it made you invisible. That's real camouflage. Other than that, it's just a thing that exists. It is not special. I don't understand this obsession with camouflage. So, and honestly, like, camouflage, it sounds like, the more you say it, camouflage, like, it sounds like it's supposed to be this big fancy thing, and maybe that's why white trash people think that camouflage is like, listen to the name, listen to that name. What could be more fancy than camouflage? Like, it's just a name. It's just a name. So it's not indicative of its inherently non-trashy and somehow high-minded sort of qualities that it has to it. I don't think so. So this next one I just thought was funny. Kelserino in 1994 says, I went to a wedding in a funeral home once, drove by it 3 times before realizing that it was in fact the correct address for the venue. Reception and ceremony were there, completely dry wedding too. And then we have a reply from Madame Nerd. The Schrutes have their own traditions. We usually marry standing in our own graves. Makes the funerals very romantic, but the weddings are a bleak affair. Shout out The Office. Me and my roommate have just been binging The Office like every single morning just because what else to do during the morning when you're, get your breakfast ready and just want something to do while you eat. Just throw on a couple episodes of The Office. My dad, man, The Office just absolutely cracks that guy up. So, I'm not going to say this username because it's rather vulgar. There were no tables and chairs, like none. They had an open bar, but no fucking chairs. Everyone just put their drink on the ground and held their plate to eat. It was fucking crazy. Everyone just assumed that some sort of terrible thing had happened where all the tables and chair people didn't bring them, but afterwards I asked the bride what happened, and she just said, oh, we had to pay extra for that. Chairs? Even if you had to pay extra for chairs, bro, bring a couple at least chairs from home. Does people just not have some chairs? Does not people just have chairs, like some just sitting chairs that you just foldable chairs? Like, just tell people, just be like, bring chairs. Like, people I bet would have brought lawn chairs. Like, come on, man. So, alrighty. So, this is a reply, but I'm gonna end it off here on this last one. So this one comes from Such Lovely Lilacs. OMG, went to a wedding like that. I have a cousin, Peg, who fancies herself to be much more high class than she actually is. So when she got married, she ended up renting out a large house from a non-profit organization in this very tiny area outside of NYC, where neither she nor her fiancé lived. She wanted to have a classy event, so her wedding was just wine, mixed drinks at an open bar with tuxedoed bartenders, past hors d'oeuvre, and a jazz band from, I don't know what that is, and a jazz band for atmosphere. First of all, my aunt is Italian, so my cousin not having a full sit-down meal was blasphemy. But my cousin and her fiancé were paying for the wedding, so my aunt didn't intervene. However, the kicker was that there were only cocktail tables, those small high tables to be used when you're standing, and no chairs. The only chairs in the whole venue were a couple of wing chairs in the foyer of the house. Given that about a third of the guests were over 65, this was a big problem. None of them had a place to sit, and none of them were comfortable standing for a 4-hour reception. Why my cousin didn't consider this? I don't know. There were folding chairs at the house, but they were in a locked closet, so my aunt called the property manager to see if it can be unlocked to get some chairs out. Given that it's Sunday afternoon, about an hour into the event, and it's a non-profit that owns the house, not a management event company, the property manager wasn't answering his phone, and they couldn't get out any chairs. So people just started leaving. Plus, the jazz band was just that, a jazz band. It was background/atmosphere music, not get people on the dance floor music. Quite honestly, people were so bored. So about 2 hours into the reception, people started leaving in droves. My cousin was so upset, but she didn't really think her plan through. Most people in both families were used to weddings with sit-down dinner/buffet, tables and chairs, and a DJ that would get people out on the floor for a good party. This wedding had none of it. Silver lining, as they're still married, and this wedding took place in the late 80s. Wow. Well, I guess we're rearing up here on 30 minutes, so might as well read some more stories then, just to get it past that 30-minute mark. So this next one comes from Shibster, probably my dad's second marriage, along the banks of a river, with trailer homes in the background. He's wearing a tuxedo t-shirt. Again, what is up with this white trashy stuff, man? What even is a tuxedo t-shirt? Why would you ever wear one of those? I don't understand. The ceremony took place at noon. He'd been drinking since 5 a.m. and had to walk one of the bridesmaids down a flight of stairs as she was legally blind, and somebody asked me if I was going to bang her. Sighs. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Or I had to walk one of the bridesmaids down. That's just so weird and gross. Last one here comes from Apart-Door. A family member was at a wedding where the groom's mother was feeding Pakistani sweets to the bride. She dropped one on her expensive wedding dress. They can be sticky and messy. And the bride says, "You ruined my wedding dress, you bitch." Groom tells his wife to apologize. She refused, so the groom tells her she's getting divorced and leaves with his family. Everyone else starts leaving too. They had signed the wedding papers the day before. Wow. That is the quickest turnaround in a marriage I've ever heard of. So, yeah, people just don't seem to care much about divorce and just like, oh, if you get married, you can just get divorced. It's like, all right, man, go for it. If that's the way you want to do it, I'm not going to stop you. So, with that said, thank you guys for tuning into the Reddit Asks Us podcast today. Just before we head out of the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating. And also, please, leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Reddit Asks Us Podcast. I am your host, Luke Dick, and I will see y'all next week. Peace out.